Oh, there you are.
It's still messed up. I got to call them, I guess, to help me because I can't get anything. I'm too close to the camera. I don't want to be this close.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to play our video.
Is it time?
Yeah.
You're listening to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. On UPRN Talk Radio FM 107.7 in New Orleans and FM 105.3 in Mississippi.
If it's unexplainable, we're talking about it.
Whether you're a believer or a skeptic,
We cover everything where the unknown becomes the known.
And now, here are your hosts, Jenny Nicasio and Tom Callway.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on FM 107.7 in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. I'm Jenny Nicasio along with my co-host Tom Callway. We're broadcasting on multiple platforms, including Roku. I hope it's up. YouTube, X, where else? Facebook. Yeah.
Facebook.
So
yeah.
How's it going, everyone? I'm glad to be here tonight.
Yes. Glad to be here. Glad to have another week on this earth. Glad to talk to all of you. So, Jenny, this week has been weird.
Mhm.
President stepped down. You got Kamala. You got all kinds of nonsense happening in the news and media and things like that. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to put you on the spot here as we wait for our guest who was supposed to show up, but it's not here right now. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to guess, is our PA governor going to be the VP?
I don't know. I could be he's in the running, but I really don't know if she's going to even be it. Tell you the truth, not until actually they have their convention. You never know; they might pull a fast one.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, and probably won't be the last time that that happened. I'm going to put the other hat on. Okay, I'm going to put Josh Shapiro's hat on right now. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, love the shirt or this.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my chair right.
But the shirt is outstanding. Outstanding. It's what we believe in. Yeah. Fight. So I'm going to try to put myself in his brain. Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I would if I have any type of presidential wish in the future, you know what I mean? If I think I would want to run for president later, if I were Josh, I don't know if this ticket makes sense for me. I am going, something like this rarely has ever happened. Only happened once in the history, of the U.S. But on top of that, it's not a strong presidential candidate. And if you lose, you're going to carry that loss your whole career down the line. So I don't know if I would accept it if it was turned to me.
I don't know. I don't think she's a good candidate. I don't care if she's a woman or she's black. I don't care. I'm not a sexist, but I don't think she's qualified. She didn't even get the votes for the primary. Remember the debates? I mean, she didn't even get the votes for the primary in 2020. And before we get any, I had these all up and they're gone. So I don't know why they disappeared.
Get them back up. They were pretty good.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened at the Olympics because it really bothers me, and stuff like that usually don't bother me, but when it comes to mocking the Last Supper, that's where I get a little angry and agitated. So I'm sure everybody heard about it by now, but I have a little short video.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and
sure, go ahead. Let's get it up.
It gets on. I don't know. And goes I probably grabbed the wrong
one. The
one.
2024 Paris Olympics opening ceremony, a night filled with spectacular moments, from the lighting of the cauldron to Celine Dion's breathtaking performance. But amidst the grandeur, one act has ignited a global firestorm. A tableau so controversial it has the world asking, what were they thinking? Picture this. drag queens and dancers sprawled across a long table in a scene eerily reminiscent of Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. Jesus Christ and his 12 apostles, replaced by a flamboyant display that left many viewers outraged. The backlash was swift. The official Olympics account, faced with widespread criticism, yanked the footage from YouTube. A stark message greeted viewers: this video is not available. But the damage was done. The opening ceremony, celebrated for its bold, unconventional approach, included a diverse mix of performers, models, dancers, fashion icons, and drag queens. But the segment that parodied Da Vinci's masterpiece crossed a line for many. In response to the uproar, the Paris Olympics organizers issued an apology to Catholics and Christian groups, expressing regret over the contentious tableau.
To show disrespect to any religious group. On the contrary, I think that Thomas Joly really tried to really intend to celebrate community tolerance. That was his word yesterday. And looking at the result of the polls that we shared, we believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are, of course, really, really sorry.
That is just totally bull crap. I think it's just I don't know, travesty of what they did. And there's no excuse for it, this woke community. And I know this is supposed to be a UFO paranormal, but this is beyond the scope of normal.
I like how you brought that in there. Yeah.
Seriously, we are in a dark, horrible path to the underworld. And unless things change, I think we're doomed as a human race, because we're back to Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, it totally sickened me. And I have a lot of things going on right now with social media. I got banned from TikTok. My one TikTok account got banned because I said something to the fact that I repeated what Elon Musk said about his son. And I got banned. I totally banned. I had to open 2 other accounts, but that's not it. It's just that you can't say anything. And then Mark Zuckerberg tried to play one on Donald Trump by censoring him, and then he came back with an apology. This is it's just such a terrible time right now, and I think we are in a spiritual war, and if we don't do something soon, we're in big trouble. And I just had to play that.
Yeah, no, and I respect you, and I thank you for being a loyal American, a loyal patriot, and somebody who's not going to just take what people push down your throat without questioning back and speaking up about it. And that's one of the many, many reasons, Jenny, I love you and I love being a part of this show. And what you have to, keep in mind is, the spiritual war never started, in our lifetime. It's always been going on. Yeah. It's always been going on. It's a race for souls, and it's good and evil.
It's really bad now. I don't know. I think it's gone to the point where we might be at the point of no return. I don't know.
Well, we might be. It certainly wasn't like this before. And Nicole, I completely agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jenny.
It's just 1994. That's all. I mean, it's 1994. We're just on a dark place. And what did the one scripture say? Look to Lot, the sister of, oh geez, help me. He said she turned around during Sodom and Gomorrah, and do you know that scripture? The part I can't remember.
No, I'm not,
I have to learn my scriptures, but it goes back to Sodom and Gomorrah, and we're just in deep trouble. And before we bring on our fabulous guests, we can wait till the end. I found some really interesting videos concerning UFOs. We can wait. So you can go ahead and introduce her.
Oh, thank you, Nicole, for that. Coming out of the woodwork, Nicole. Thank you so much for that one. So yes, wonderful guest. This has been a few months in the making, really. I'm so excited to have Nancy. And so Nancy Thames is a former defense contractor or a Department of Defense employee and lifelong contactee of interdimensional extraterrestrial beings, has emerged as a significant voice in the realm of alien disclosure and spiritual awakening. Her journey, marked by personal struggles, transformed profoundly through her continuous extraterrestrial encounters. And so, without further ado, I'll bring on Nancy. Nancy, thank you so much for being on. Time for Disclosure, your book, and everything. I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us and our wonderful fans down on the bayou.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I have not written a book yet. I will do that at some point, but so far it's just simply doing podcast and trying to be as active as I can, because I was listening to y'all, and this is a time where we need truths and we need positive information. In the media, I will not watch it. I did not watch the Olympics. I will not watch things like that, because they're doing that intentionally to keep us upset, to keep us negative. And that's what we don't need. We have enough of that in the world. And I cannot believe that happened, but it's just an example of we have choices. And, if we start not playing in and watching this stuff, and they realize that the viewers are dropping, that's the best message I think that we can send, is just not participating in the game.
Yeah. Already, Nancy, already a friend of the show, and you're exactly right, because the more we complain, piss, bitch, moan, whatever you want to say about it, the more it gets talked about. And what the only effective medicine is ignoring it. You know what I mean? Because if you get no reaction, that's worse than a bad reaction.
That's the way it works. So, I get bored a lot of nights, but I just don't even have cable. I pick and choose what I want to watch. I go through Netflix or whatever, Prime Video, and I pick what I want to watch, because I just refuse to have that negative, because there's so much energy around the world right now, and it is a play of good and bad. So it's just at our best interest to lean more toward the positive things in life and just ignore it. It's there. We know it's there, but we just don't have to like them, and we don't have to make their ratings go up, that kind of thing.
No, you're right.
You're right.
Well, I have had an eventful day getting my granddaughter signed up at junior high, so that's why I'm running a little late. So I do apologize for that, but I'm so glad to be here.
No problem. School, I'm sure she was happy about that.
She was. It was fun. It was interesting to see where she goes to school. So it was fun.
All right.
Go ahead. I'm going to
let's
find her paperwork.
Get your stuff up. Let's start this interview, Nancy. Thank you again. Sure. And being a part of the Department of Defense, for our audience, can you speak to what was your experience like there? What did you do?
I was a civilian dental assistant for the Army, and and the first place they sent me was to Schofield Barracks on Oahu, Hawaii, and for me, it was a wonderful experience. That they didn't know that I was a contactee or an experiencer with interdimensionals and extraterrestrials. They didn't ask, I didn't say. And so I feel like now, though, everything that's ever happened in my life, I'm 64 years old now, and I've lived a lot of different places, experienced a lot of good and a lot of bad things in my life, just like every other human being. But I think that everything has happened because it was experiences that I did need to make me who I am today. So really and truly, the best thing I got out of working for the military and the medical dental was being exposed to 3D imaging, which is exactly what they used down in Mexico when that man named Jamie, I can't think of his last name, but he presented those Peruvian mummies, the Nazca mummies, when he presented those to their congressional hearings. And I didn't care. Everybody was talking about, he's a scam. He's, blah, blah, blah. And they really didn't pay any attention to, the evidence. And for me, when they said 3D imaging, I automatically knew from working with that, with the military, you cannot cheat on those type X-rays. if somebody tried to put in children's bones or animal bones and tried to fake it, it would stand out like a sore thumb. It's not like a natural x-ray that most clinics and hospitals use. It's high tech. So, that was a good way for me to have an understanding and to learn to look at evidence and to pick up on when something's presented. And just because the media didn't want to portray it as anything important, and they, just came right out and said the guy's a scam, and they just dismissed it. Yeah.
Jenny?
How did you find out that you were a contactee? Like, was this something you grew up, you were a baby and all of a sudden you had these feelings and it started then, or did it start later in life, like a teenager?
No,
or
I'm a lifelong contactee, and I do now know it's been even before. Well, my lineage goes back before my birth here on Earth, but as throughout my life, my first conscious memory started around 2, more or less 3 years old, where I remember, having interactions, having physical face-to-face contact, playing. And, at that point in my life, I had not been influenced by anyone or anything. So it was fun. They made it playful and fun. And so throughout my life, when I got to around junior high, like my granddaughter, and taking my math and science and all these classes, and the simple fact that my parents had told me growing up that I could not talk about these things in public. I grew up in Tennessee, which is part of the Bible Belt. Yeah. And these things were considered either demonic or a mental health issue. And my parents said, you never, ever talk about these things. And my family, my father was very engaged. He owned a radio station and was well known within the community. And so, this was just not something that you could talk about. So I learned at a very young age to keep my mouth shut. And my family didn't mind talking about certain things, but not to the extent that my story. So they thought it was a lot of a very like imagination or like really vivid dreams, that kind of thing. So I just quit talking about it after a while. But when I was in junior high, I started to develop fear and I would have anxiety. I've always had the ability, I know before they're coming. I have a frequency change in my body. I start feeling different and I know it's like the beginning of what it feels like when you're in their presence. So, at that point, when they realized that I was scared and that I was having anxiety, my experiences changed from being fully conscious to all of a sudden when they would come and they would be holding a handheld device going from head to toe to head. And what they were doing, which at the time I did not understand what was happening, but now I know that they were taking my human frequency and raising it, elevating it to match their frequency. And then when I would start to raise up off the bed and look down and see my bed empty and start grabbing on my skin to make sure I was awake and touching her, which was a female gray that wasn't gray, she was reddish brown, but I would be holding her hand. And then she would lead me up like through a door or through a window or through the ceiling. And that was the confusing part because everything I was studying at school, in junior high and whatever, humans couldn't do this. So it made no sense to me. And I would ask her, is this real? And she would just kind of just not pay much attention to me. But I can remember like being like going through the attic and seeing, where I grew up in my family, our attics are always unfinished. And there's like, insulation and there's always like storage boxes. The floors are not fully floored or anything. It's just simply place to hide Christmas presents. And just a place to storage. So I can remember going up through there and seeing all that stuff and thinking, this is unreal. I don't understand this. And it was forever. And it was later on in it was much later on, I'd say in my 50s, because I'm 64 now, somewhere in that neighborhood, that they finally told me what they were doing. But throughout my life, I've had so many experiences with them. And, so at that point when I was scared, it did change because of my anxiety. They're telepathic. So not only do they know everything I think, but everything that I feel, they would feel it 10 times the amount. In their reality, there is no such thing as sadness, anger, whining, or fear. Those are not things that they experience. So when a human has this overwhelming fear, they don't like that feeling. It does not feel good. And they will simply black you out. And for me, that's what they started doing. They would black me out and put me in a trance-like state, which you're fully functional. You still have the experience. But the only problem is when you come back and you become fully conscious, you have missing time or you have fragmented memories. And I think, thousands of people talk about this all the time, but that is why they're doing it, because they do not like to feel our fear. They do not like to feel our anger or any of these things. So it makes it easier for you as a contactee, whatever you want to call yourself, because you'll go through the experience, but you're blacked out, but you're fully functional. So it does occur, and for them, it is just a lot safer to deal with a sedated like human being, because then they're not having to fight you and struggle with you, and they just lead you around and you go through your whole experience with them. And they finally verified all that with me much later on. But so as I got older, I witnessed seeing my 2 sons being taken for the first time that I saw them have a contact. And as far as I knew, that was their first time. I really don't know that, but I witnessed them. And the graves that came for them were not the same that come for me. I always have the same 3. They always travel in 3s. And I have a female grave that is reddish brown that I am bonded with. And I love her and she loves me. And we are just like close knit. And I know that she was with me before I came to Earth. And so anyway, the 3 that came that particular time for my children were little short grays, about 3 foot tall. And they had on robes and high collars. And because I sensed their frequency and watched them manifest in the room, we were staying at a hotel at Key West. And one approached me and pressed me back down and telepathically told me, this is not about you. Go back to sleep. And so he pressed me down, and then he put me in a sleep paralysis. And at that point, I could not speak and I could not move. So I sit there and witnessed and watched my 2 children begin taken out of the bed and walked across the room until they disappeared. And then they blacked me out. I blacked out. And then the next morning, I looked over and they were perfectly fine in their bed. And I asked them at breakfast if they had any strange happenings or occurrences during the night. And they said no. So they apparently had blacked them out during their experience as well. So
you were on vacation? You were in a hotel?
Yes, I was at Key West at the Marriott Hotel. And it was, I think they call that beach Jimmy Buffett Beach. It's we were on the ground level. Sure was.
I'm just wondering why they waited for you to be at a hotel, like not at your home for this.
They wanted me to see it, which I now know. They wanted me to see it. Normally my boys sleep in different rooms, but they were at an age.
They were in the same room.
Yeah, but they wanted me to witness it. So the reason why is, so when I got back home from the trip, I sat down and I meditated and asked for face to face. I want to know why this is happening to me, why this is happening to my children. What is the purpose? What is the meaning? I don't understand. And I was very upset. And I'm not a person that claims that I can summon them down or do anything out of the ordinary. But I did ask for them to come, and they did, but on their own time, not just when I snapped my fingers or anything like that. I'm not capable of that. So they did come, and the female gray took me on board a craft, and they took me to what, I don't know if they told me they were elders or if I perceived that in my mind. That's what I felt comfortable with. I'm not quite sure, because they do not put names and labels on things. So that may have been something that my mind needed to use at the time. And that's how I perceived it. So I asked them, why is this happening to me? And they told me that I had made an agreement with them to be part of an evolutionary process for humanity. And that when I was born, all these things were, my past life was forgotten, and they would be visiting me throughout my life to get me prepared to help humanity to understand who we are, who they are. We're not alone in the whole purpose of all this. So basically, that's what happened. When I was 30 and they told me these things, I heard everything they said, but did I understand it all? No, I did not. And it's taken me a long time, spiritual growth, more experiences. And I also had to learn to get rid of my fear. I had to learn, and they told me if I wanted to have a longer conscious time with them, I had to learn to face my fear. And that was very hard to do. And it was not easy to do. And I could not do it the first couple of times. But basically, once I started to have that feeling, and all of a sudden my brain started thinking, like the panicky feeling, anxiety, I had to mentally tell myself, stop. You've done this before. You can do this. Push through it. And so I did. And so I finally got to the point where I was fully conscious again throughout the whole experience. And they were very happy for me, because I realize now it's never been what they look like. What it is the frequency exchange between a human being and an extraterrestrial or interdimensional. We're at a much lower frequency, and we don't experience anything like that here on Earth. So when you come in face to face with them, your brain just does not know how to handle these feelings. And the closest thing is a combination of extreme fear and extreme euphoria. So your brain's like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, what is this?
I can imagine.
And most people, we fall into the fear, because what we don't understand, what our brain does not understand, we label it as fear. And we go back to our thinking like in days of caveman, when everything around us was a predator. So we see it as a predator. And they simply shut us down at that point. So most people, when you come back at first, and you wake up and you have you realize you've had missing time, your brain will try to fill in this the best it can, because you realize something has happened, and you're like, what happened? And so your brain goes, it will take whatever program, whatever influences that you've had all your life, and it sometimes, not all the time, sometimes people will fill it in with that information. And it's very real to them. It's real. Fear is overwhelming and powerful. I know, I've experienced it. But I also learned that I was creating my own fear. They were not doing anything. It was me and my perception, and also the frequency exchange between us. My brain just didn't know what to do with that. So about 2 years ago, they finally gifted me a Kundalini awakening. And when they did that, that really congealed everything from the very beginning of my life up until this point to understand. I understand now. They wanted me to see my children being taken. They wanted me to understand, although at the time I was angry, I was mad, I was upset, thought it was horrid. I now know that that served a higher purpose at the time, but at my spiritual growth and my conscious level, I was not able to understand it. So they did that on purpose, because now I know they wanted me to know that this is something my family is a part of. And also to learn about how human beings other than me go through these different stages of experiences. And some people never get past the fear part. You know, they simply keep thinking it was all negative and horrible and this, that, and that happened. But I can assure you, they are very loving, benevolent beings. They are 1 billion years ahead of us in terms of evolution, which means that our physics does not apply. Our means of travel through the universe or anywhere does not apply. You know, are trying to humanize beings that are billion years ahead of us that's not the case. They are not human. They are 1 billion years ahead of us. So when people start talking about probes stealing this, that, and the other from your bodies, look at where we are today and how we can genetically, what we can do with DNA. I assure you, they are billions of years ahead of us, and there is no mischief or probing or stealing sperm and eggs and all that stuff. I'm not saying that they didn't use some DNA, but the way that people thought it happened to them, that was their perception at the time. All they knew to do was to deal with it with what knowledge they had. And fear was the main thing that they experienced, was fear. So, you know, I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, or they think, and I'm not questioning or saying people didn't experience what they experienced, because they did. They did. They truly did. But a lot of people with spiritual growth and awareness, and I think that's another reason why we're going through an evolutionary process now, because we humans need to go through ascension and evolution so that we don't destroy ourselves and end our human civilization. And also to help us to understand that there's things in this universe and world, just because we can't see these things with using our 5 senses to understand, there's life going on all around us. They showed me visions, and they got me to go to Mexico to meet indigenous tribe there. They wanted my son to go out in the forest with these people. And when I was there, they came for me and took me out on deck on a cabin, and they did like this, and they said, everything is alive. And then they gave me visions. I could see the trees talking to each other, plants talking to each other, flowers, birds, insects, all these things were talking to each other. And a tree was laughing at me. And I'm like, why is this tree laughing at me? He's not laughing at you. He's laughing at humanity, because all these things provide something for humans. Air you breathe comes from the plants and the trees. The wood that you use to warm yourself, the wood that you use to create your homes, fruits, vegetables, all these things. He said, but human beings take all of that for granted. You know, we just run around chopping things down, destroying things, our environment, all these things. And they said, we need to remember our connections. We are connected to all living conscious things on this planet. When we were created, so was the things on this planet. And we're supposed to all be one and work together in unity so that we can all survive whatever. So, and they also told me that anything that we ever needed in a medicinal form was put here on this planet. And we should not be using pharmaceutical stuff. And so it was just on and on, all this information about how we can better ourselves as human beings.
So Nancy, tell us, When do you think they're going to come out and show themselves?
I think they already are. It's just we are going through an evolution. We have to go through this process. They are not hiding from us. We cannot see them, but they're in our skies and all over our solar system. We have to wake up. We already get glimpses of them. They're there. So what's happening?
So they're waiting for us to have some spiritual enlightenment?
No, they're waiting for us to go through ascension. We are moving from a 3D world into a fourth physical dimension. Dimensions are not physical places. They are higher levels of consciousness, which means higher intelligence, higher awareness. Our visual range will increase. What used to be the paranormal will no longer be paranormal because more people will be seeing not just extraterrestrials, but all things that are occurring that we can't see with our 3D vision. Things are going to change, but these things will not happen overnight. It cannot happen overnight because it would be too much for our brains. It would overload us and people would freak out. So it has to be done.
I get that.
Yeah, in a slow process, just like our creation. It has to be done in a way that people don't even notice it. By the time we get to the end of it, it will seem like our world has always been this way. And it has to be done this way so that all of humanity, not just the United States, not just some of us in these fields.
Yeah, I think there's some races of ETs that are like that, but then I see the other side of the reptilians.
I've met reptilians. Have you met reptilians?
No, I don't want to meet one.
I have. They are
They're
fine.
not. See, now
They're fine.
I heard they were not fine.
That's misinformation. All that was done intentional to keep human beings in fear. Fear is how dark human forces have manipulated us. We have been manipulated and controlled for eons. And this is not just our generation. This goes back separation of languages, separation of religions, racism, all these different things has always been used to keep us separate. Because they know once we reach higher levels of consciousness and ascension and become more intelligent, when we come together as one, we're unstoppable.
Excuse me, but I know a lot of researchers who don't feel that way. They feel there are demonic.
They're not experiencers or contactees either. I've met a lot of these people, and a lot of these people, Travis Walton, for example.
Well, I know I've met Travis a number of times, and he didn't say that they were all nice either. He didn't.
No, what he said is that he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. His perception has changed. They saved his life. What happened in those movies when he signed his rights away, he had no say about that. And if you read his autobiography and talk,
he did say that the one scene where he's being dragged and terrorized, and I think that never happened.
Right, the thing in the eye, all that stuff is dramatized. It's all dramatized. I've met him several times, and we've talked about this because he knows, and all of us know that's been experiencing this. When we come here to try to talk to the world, these questions are going to come up. So we have to talk and communicate about how we address these things. And it is misinformation. When you have to, fear sells box seats, fear sells. That's how they.
I don't know. My son claimed that he had an experience and he was terrified.
Sure
he didn't say anything about a light and being calm and comforting and peaceful. He was terrorized, and to this day, he still cannot watch some of the videos. And he's 32 years old.
I can understand that. A lot of people feel, or I was in fear. I know what fear feels like, but I pushed through it to experience the real thing. And also, I know when I went to talk to them and they opened up a vision and showed me myself being born here on Earth. And I now know since the Kundalini awakening, I was one of them before I came to Earth.
Well, yeah, I see like Ashtar Command and I see Bashar. They have real positive.
No, I don't believe in any of that.
Oh, you
Oh.
don't believe in Bashar and Ashdar Command and what's the
No.
other guy's name from the Pentagon? Thor.
I don't know about Thor, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that they're not channeling someone, but who are they channeling? How do you affirm that? I don't know how they do that. For me, I have direct contact.
Nancy,
know
how do you know it's not some kind of an angel or
because
divine?
because I touch them. I hold arms with them. I have a frequency. They have a frequency. It's an exchange. It's a love. It's a bond because they are family to me and they are very loving. And this is another different thing for me. Where I go is to a craft with the interdimensionals. Interdimensionals are 7 to 8 foot tall, and many extraterrestrials are on craft with them. They are all cooperating and working together to help assist humanity. And they've been waiting on us all this time for us to get to this pivotal moment in time, which we are at, so that we understand they are not gods, they are not angels, and they are not here to control. If they wanted to do evil or all these things that people think they do, it would have already happened. They are a billion years ahead of us. They were here before us, and they've watched us turn into who we are today. They have been watching and witnessing this. And by sending incarnates like me, they understand truly what it's like to be a human through my eyes and other people that have incarnated here to do the same thing. There's many others other than me. I happen to be one that's vocal in this area, but my children are also soul incarnates from the interdimensional realm too. And they're very much a part of all this. Yeah. So I know it's hard for people to understand, but that's the whole thing about this. We don't understand what's happening in our world, but we do know our world is changing. Human beings are changing. And if we don't change with the proper assistance, we are going to kill ourselves.
We can at least agree on that.
We have
to. And they're trying to help us. They are trying to help us. Yeah.
Let's get some Powerball numbers.
That sounds good. Powerball.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you so much for everything. Where can people see you? Where can people find you? Learn more about you.
Someday I will write a book, but that's not my priority right now. But timefordisclosure.com is the website. And then I have Facebook group, Time for Disclosure / We Have Never Been Alone. And the last part is we are the disclosure. And I believe humanity is the disclosure. Extraterrestrials have always been here. It doesn't matter what the Army will end up saying or the military or what the government will end up saying. What matters is that we are reaching higher levels of consciousness. All of our answers are going to be answered within us. So you don't have to believe me. Everybody's on their own path, and we will all figure it out as we evolve. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
You heard it there. Go to timefordisclosure.com. And thank you, Nancy, for everything. We appreciate it. And you have a wonderful Tuesday.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. So Jenny, I love that you jumped in there for that one because I had major theories and questions about all of that.
Yeah.
Dimension's not a place.
I don't know. I don't know because I've
some
heard
of the things. I'm not going to say all of it. I'm not going to say all of it was bad, but you know me, you know my history before this. I've spent a lot of time talking to a lot of different people, and that's the first time that I heard dimension wasn't a space; it was a state of mind. And I'd have to question that because where's the 1D humans? Where's the 2D humans? And where's the 3D humans? And then wouldn't it expect, look how diverse humans are on this planet, Jenny. How are we all 3D, but there's some tribes that are uncontacted and don't know anything about the outside world? And that's not to, say anything bad against them. I'm just saying, if you're waiting for us to move in that realm, if you're waiting for us to move all together, it seems like a futile point. I've always been under the assumption time is the fourth dimension, and heaven as we see it is a dimensional space higher than us that our souls try to get to, because physically we can't move through that time dimension. So that's, a little bit of the Bible, a little bit of people that I've talked to. One thing I've never heard is the outright denial of these things being good and bad. And reptilians are evil. Everything that I have read.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And that's why I had to say something, because of all the people, this is the first one that ever said that they weren't bad. So
So on my other show, Beyond the Radar, my first episode, I had Joanne Fawcett, who was a contractor, and she would be great to be on this show because I can bring her up.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought that we were doing. I thought she was going to tell us something that she overheard or seen.
That is kind of, and everybody listening, wonderful guest. We did learn a lot about abductions, but we thought it was a DOD contractor and somebody, who could tell us inside, and most of our questions were skewed that way. So, but anyway, Joanne said, when she talked to me, her husband was in the military, so she was a military wife as well as being in the military, and reptilians are evil and are working with adversaries, and people they are here.
I know, and that's. I mean, I've talked to so many, like Sherry Hinkle, that actually wrote the book on Doyce, the 7 levels of aliens and the hall of consciousness and souls. And it doesn't sound very, very nice to me. Okay. It sounds terrifying, and a lot of people think they're demonic. So you're telling me like John Bentley, and a lot of them are nutcases, and they just think that they're, and even Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan, they all think that they're a little scary and not pleasant. So I'm sorry, if someone comes in your bedroom, if someone's coming in my bedroom at night,
belief of the same thing, you can call it misinformation. But everybody has different beliefs, and everybody believes a little bit different on that. Some believe totally that they're outside of the holy spectrum, and some believe they are inside. If you are coming across dimension, you have to have some divinity. If you are billions and billions of years advanced, what hope do we have if you're still not divine? You know what I mean? We're all progressing towards being a better society that becomes divine, holy, or good. And the fact that you say that they're not evil things, I'm sorry, but you can't have good without evil. If you believe in heaven, you have to believe in hell. If you believe in hell, you have to believe in heaven. You can't have one without the other. Otherwise, there is no this. There's no reason to have earth. There's no reason to have your soul tested with things in, earthly things, or however they put it in that way. Hit me a little. It kind of shocked me, about who we got and who.
I wasn't shocked, and I wasn't shocked. I just kind of had a feeling.
Yeah, a feeling.
Yeah, I always have a feeling about people.
Jenny does have good feelings. Her feelings are she's batting 1,000 with good and bad feelings. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Today,
maybe one day we'll make our text conversations back and forth.
Maybe. Definitely. But I do have a couple more videos. I know you have.
Yeah,
one.
Let's see them. Let's look at them.
Let me. This is in Brazil. It's been it just became viral not too long ago. On TikTok for one.
I think I know which one it is.
Starting to go viral. Yep. The object was spotted over a city in Brazil on July 7th, 2024. It was seen in broad daylight, and if you watch closely, you'll see it looks
real.
Expanding and contracting.
That's real, yeah.
Was this a non-human intelligence craft? What do you think it was?
So I think that was real.
That one was, and I'm going to play one right here. Whoops. I'm going to play one that happened the same day. The same day. Yeah, this one's real quick. The same day earlier.
Oh yeah. Well, that's in Miami.
It was Miami, which in the sky, the shape is somewhat similar.
Yeah, it is.
This was early in the day. Miami to Brazil. It's pretty far, but it's not unrealistic that something in the sky could have been over 2 separate areas at the same time. Or not the same time, but over in but that's the
Too
same
bad they
shape.
didn't make it bigger.
I know. It's just somebody it looked like Miami Beach
Yeah.
taking video there. But no, once I saw that, and it reminded me of the one I saw in Miami. Now they were talking about Miami aliens and things like. I don't think it was that. I think it was a UFO. But there you go.
Where's the one I just brought down? Shit, what did I do with? Oh, is that it?
Oh.
Yeah.
This one?
I think this is it. This is at the rally.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people could say that in the comments, they said it could have been the kid's drone, but a lot of people are saying it doesn't look like a drone. It looks like a flying saucer.
No. It didn't look like a drone. I can tell you that. Usually they're not made out of the shinier materials. They're more plastic.
It seems like it's rounded, and usually they have like,
July 13th,
you know, like
in Butler,
legs and
a UFO.
Yeah, they would have legs, and they would have
very high rate of speed.
areas where the propellers would sit on all sides, and I didn't see that there.
Some sort of metallic craft traveling through the
One thing, Jenny, this diamond shape UFO has been kind of the standard over the last couple of years. They kind of got away from the saucer model, huh?
Yeah, you know what? My book, my third, my prequel to my story, it's Project Moon. Was it Project Moondust? Yeah, I'm losing my mind. My saucer is like that I come up with, and it's just solid. There's no opening, and the only thing that opens it is like the symbols, and you have to hit the right spot. So.
Oh,
yeah,
so like an unlock.
Yeah,
it.
they had a spit.
Okay.
I won't get into the whole story, but I really did a lot of research on that. But in my mind too. But that's a crazy woman. Okay, I want to share one more thing with you.
Let's do it.
Is that another one you put on here? Or is that the same one? I just want to get this off the screen. Where the heck?
I didn't put one.
Okay, I want to show you what I got at the festival. I didn't show it to you last week. I forgot. Hold on.
Oh, geez.
Okay, my pants are falling down. I want to get Jeff Friedman to go crazy. He's probably watching. He told me I took my overalls off for him.
Overalls.
I didn't have my overalls, zipped, whatever you want to call it, hooked.
You're an overall fan?
Yeah, I love overhauls. Okay, where is this? This is a
Look at that.
freaking. You see it? I can't see it. The big
I
head.
see it. Yeah, look at that big old.
Says, we're not alone.
We're not.
Lost my mic. Oh,
we're not alone.
It's pretty cool. It's
and
huge.
I
was going to use it for a backdrop, but it's too big. If I ever have.
Well, it looks
it's
wonderful.
It's really cool because it says.
Is it a blanket or just a flag?
A blanket. It says, "We are not alone." It's upside down. Maybe that's why you didn't see it right. It says we. I can't see.
Yeah, are not. We are not.
And it has a
and
big
then alone
alien.
is at the bottom.
The big alien.
Big alien.
I'm gonna hang it.
You know what they say about big aliens? Big ships.
Yeah, really. The bigger the better. A lot of room.
Oh, we're going off the rails, New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next week I'll get my camera fixed. I have more problems because I don't use this computer all the time. And I told you we had a flood last week. And got the restoration.
Yeah, how'd you get that fixed?
No, we just got them cleaning it up. And now we have to get a contractor, fix the carpet and the ceiling, the drywall and everything. We still don't know. The plumbers still don't know where the leak was.
And, everybody, Jenny sent me a picture. When she said it fell through, it fell through. It was
luckily
everywhere.
it's right there. It wasn't on my head.
No, you're right.
I put on a lot of my I have like microphones and web cameras. I have a big green screen that I don't use anymore. It was just the green screen I liked.
You got to do it. You got to stand up, use the green screen, do the weather or something.
Yeah, I liked it because it was fun. I could have a different background. When we first started, we were on Skype. And I liked Skype better than StreamYards. I did. and I always had a
Skype is
great
good. Skype was
background.
fun. Skype's fun.
Yeah, well, we got this thing now.
Well, who
But
knows? We
anyways,
might be wild cards out there.
maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. So if you're listening on the radio, on SoundCloud or Spotify or Facebook or YouTube, and you think you'd be, my microphone's shut off again. If you think you'd be a guest for us, I mean, really good guest. Okay. I want someone who wants to talk and let us talk too, because
I want an alien.
Do you definitely? Well, you know what? We did have one on the show a few years ago. A woman who claimed she was an alien.
Oh.
Hybrid. Yeah. We know there's a lot of people think they saw hybrids. So, hey, if you're a hybrid and you want to come on the show, or if you just want to have open mic where you can come on and talk and tell us, your story, your alien encounter, if it was good, which I don't
And
think
let
it
us know.
was.
We do have interns. We have multiple stories we can read off too, and go for.
And I still want to talk about the Appalachians. So I'm going to try to get somebody
Oh, the
that.
Appalachians are good. I love
Yeah,
the
there's a lot of
Appalachians.
whispers in the Appalachian, and Appalachians
Yeah.
are really scary. And if you guys want to watch a good movie, it's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Watcher. I believe it's on Amazon Prime, and it goes back to cryptids and fays. So if you're into that thing, definitely watch it.
I'll
I
have to
kept
check it
me
out.
interested. I was a little scared, and we're at 8:05, so we have to get off because Sean's getting on with Into the Night, and we're gonna have
We're
him
gonna
on the
get yelled
show.
out.
I know, damn. Okay, guys, let me find the music so we can get out of here. Hopefully next week will be a good show.
Always
And
with you, Jenny.
always. And have a great weekend and stay out of the sun.
Stay
I
safe,
heard it was
everyone.
going to be a lot of rain this week over in
Yeah, it
Pennsylvania.
rained
I
all
don't know
day
about New
today.
Orleans. I don't know. We're getting into hurricane season. So that's not a good thing.
Yeah,
because
be safe, everyone.
Yeah, be safe.